Sanibonani babukeli bethu ekhaya. Igama lami nguPhindile Mntwana wakaJobe, and I'm joined today by my lovely co-hosts, Udelisile, Siadimo, Nonoktula. Hello ladies, how are you doing?
Hey,
Nyaphila. We all have unique and often memorable stories about going through puberty. We watch our bodies in fascination as they change from childhood through to adolescence and then into adulthood. But this change can sometimes be so scary, but it is necessary. Stay with us tonight as we explore sex, sexuality, and physical development. So ladies, I'm going to jump straight into it. How did you guys experience your sexuality for the first time?
You know, the first time I had tingly feelings was when I started touching my body, and then me and my friends would start touching each other's bodies, and I mean that never felt like a real thing, because even when I had my first kiss with a girl, it always felt like this is practice for harihola, and we have to start doing certain things with boys, and I never got to own that first sexual experience with myself.
Okay, I was with a boy.
Tell us about
it. Okay, it was first time, it was like so.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. But I'm feeling kaya and feeling like like I'm feeling so bang born in China. I would say, and then October with your Yabunaga, but I really enjoyed it. I went back for more. I know.
Yes.
Imagine. So, I had a first crush. My first crush when I was still escolen. That led to my first kiss with that particular guy. And then I started allowing him to touch my genitals and my body, and it was amazing. It was such a beautiful sensation that I was feeling. But then when I went home, we mixed it. I began to feel awkward, you know, and doubtful of what I'd done, and I just thought that it was wrong.
Talking about wrong, my first sexual experience and my introduction to sexuality started when I was raped and I was 5 years old. And from that experience, I started to think that sex had to be violent. And I also started to feel very uncomfortable because mankula mabele, you know, all those things. I started to think, no, people are going to use this as a weapon against me, instead of celebrating it as something that is beautiful. And I think this is some of the things that us as young women, we experience on a daily basis, and no one wants to talk about it. There is a lot of confusion and shame around speaking openly about what occurs naturally in our bodies, development, and sexuality, let alone having to deal with such trauma at such a young age. Let's find out more about this in the following story.
Womanhood, it's like you have reached the stage where I'm fine with everything. I'm fine with myself. Estimate determine okuningi nama developments asuke zobe seyenzekile ese complete kumina. Ngisho ukuthi ke ngisese stage ngisasi puberty because ngisa developer nami angakafika stage sokuthi ngisho ukuthi I'm ready to have sex or not, because I'm still finding myself, I could say. Abantu abaningi ba have sex before be ready ngoba befuna ukuthi babe popular esikoleni. Kusuke kuyi peer pressure from friends. Umngani mangabe yena sebonile ukuthi seke wa have sex, secabanga ukuthi nomngani wakhe mhlawumbe sekufanele naye have sex nabafana. Besine group ye jam club ebisiza nje ingane zonke esikoleni. Sifundisana sodwa sizingane, encourageana ekutheni senze ini, fanele singenze ini, kanti futhi besisiza kakhulu naseyinganeni zasesikoleni ukuthi ke zingathuki nabo mangabe ukuthi babona ama changes, because vele besifundisiwe ngakho.
Mangabe usebenzisa uyavula so besibeka kanje. Uvule kanje, ngithi yabo uthi kunofisha nobude bese uvula la ama wings. Uvula ama wings. Uvula nala ehlala khona underpaid yakho. Bese ubeka kanje. Lokho okufisha kuhlala la ngaphezulu, lokho kuhlala la ngemuva, lokho bese ufaka ama wings akho la ngaphansi kwephedi lakho kanje. bese kuma kanje noma usungashoda ingqondo ngoba noma usungadala uphinde indlamu wenze yonke into oyithandayo.
Njengoba sengihamba la ekhaya nge-tertiary, expect ukuthi ngisocialize kakhulu nabantu ukuze ngizokhona ukufunda izinto ezintsha. Nakhona lokho ngizokufunda kungisize ekuthenini ngikhule kwamina. And futhi kuzobe ngingasekho umuntu ola eduze kwami ongigadile ukuthi ngenza ini ngenzi ini. Lapho sengizokhona khona ukuveza engikufundisiwe ekhaya. Kuyangithusa ukuthi-ke ngihambe because abantu abaningi bazongi-intimidate ekuthenini ngenze izinto mina engabi ready ukuzenza. Into engangitshela yona ukuthi I'll have sex when I'm ready.
You know, ladies, into engikhathele kakhulu ngale insert ukubona le ntombazane ifundisa abanye ukusebenzisa i-pad, and that instantly reminded me of the first time that I had my period. So what was it like when you guys first got your periods?
Nagitala the periods, I think I was about 12. I just kilomwaka madi wetsalang. I was on Hono, not Lalamadi, I do la fatty. Dwale hair, Tlamio do look am hoiting, Petty Kenan, Tlamio took a 5 say, and so I just felt like it's such an unnatural thing, a little awkward, no only secrecy, my little sister. And so it was always attached with shame. It's like it's something I had to be embarrassed with. And just ever since then, just physical development has just been uncomfortable because of how my period started.
Yeah. How did you guys finally become comfortable with your sexuality and your physical development?
I think for me, turning point yami ukuthi mangiqoqa nabangani bami nomuntu wami yabo manje masekameleni uyazi ukuthi ngifunani ngithandani kanjani, and that really started to liberate me and show me that my body wasn't this terrible thing that I should be ashamed of. It was beautiful and it needed to be celebrated.
So earlier on sibuza amantombazane lawa ahleli nathi ukuthi how do you choose who to have sex with? And these were the answers. So someone who is kind, someone that I love and trust, someone with a good body, and someone with a personality. I think these answers are really cool.
Yeah, they are.
Umasasboya will be speaking to Boitumelo Sifolo about sex, sexuality, and physical development. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss this.
About sex.
You tell your party, so no condom, no sex.
Really, I'm happy. I don't know if it's okay. I was with Dumelo Sefolo, a clinical psychologist. Dumelo was to.
Hello, Ken.
I was to me kupa hutla kawena ne. Hona le mngetse ona oring. How qala fellow mensa o solo msadi. Neqelo mensa kile 12. So what does that even mean?
Hoba msadi, I think has a stage more aging 18 and then you become a woman. If you can level from the legal perspective, once you by 18 you become an adult again. Adults again, men and women. So that's when you become a woman. How can level from a cultural perspective? Sometimes see the culture dance, but then they welcome you into womanhood again. Modi culture and how nyala but musadi again. So someone would say musadi. So musadi bona Runa ntsere kena mo bona hantse re tsamaya ka di stages e tlotla go mothong gore wena o ipona o tia mo kae, and it changes according to developer jwang emotionally o nka dilo jwang le ka di body tsa rona ga ditla ha re start a menstrual cycle.
Fela re bua ka sex and sexuality, so just taking it back, how re qala neng ho develop the sexual feelings and how does that influence being a woman?
The sexual feelings diteng mo baneng from a small age, because bana ba banyane banali sexual feelings. What they don't have ki emotional maturity ya go deala le di sexual feelings tse di leng teng wa itlhaloganya. So le gantse re le ko re na le bo 5 years, that's why small children can masturbate. It's because the sexual feelings di sa le teng mara ga ba sa tsebe go di address hantle in a context their relationship hantle go di sebetse hantle.
So what would you say is the good age then re banana to start informing ourselves ka sex, the sexuality?
I think gona ya nung from nakwe bana ba banyane ba start to butsisang about sex, they can start being informed. Mara mo aging, mo leveling, eba understandang ka yon. But hence ho tsamaya, especially how fitla ko puberty, it's okay to start having discussions tsa hore now that we are mensa, it means how ka ba le sexual contact, you can become pregnant, le go ruta ka di STIs, ka HIV and AIDS and so forth. So that becomes age e leng hore it's reasonable enough. Okay,
but what's then the difference between sexuality and sexual orientation? How does he aware these differences?
Okay, sexuality is when you are sensual. So you can act a certain way, you are flirtatious, or you feel sexy, or you act sexy. Kika action hangata behavior visual. Sexy would be the act of sex itself, sexual intercourse. Sexy can be different from kissing, from touching, from fondling, from oral sex, actual sexual penetration. And then sexual orientation is sexual identity, meaning sexual preference. Yakuruba homosexual, meaning that we're attracted to the same sex, or we're heterosexual, or attracted to the opposite sex, or we're bisexual, where you're attracted to both people.
But outside of the actual physical act, really, batu baba cha babome, ki eng se re hlokang ho se tseba about sex?
Sexy, especially for women, inali emotional attachment and that's what people need to be aware of. It doesn't just remain as a physical act. You involve emotionally.
Our audience members also submitted questions. One of our young ladies asked, at what age should you start having sex?
When it's the best age to start having sex? I would, even when I speak to my patients, I always advocate for abstain for as much as possible and as long as possible. But nakongwe royally emotional maturity abatu do you feel you are ready for the sexual act? But what's important is once you become sexually active, it's important to enforce there must be the use of condoms to protect yourself. You tell your partner so no condom, no sex. And that's how people must be. So if ufila when ready, part of maturity, the readiness must also involve do you know how to practice safe sex, the use of condoms to prevent unwanted pregnancies, to prevent STIs, to prevent the infection near HIV and AIDS.
The second one was, how do I prepare myself for sex?
You know, sometimes I joke with my patients and I say to them, if I were to become the president of South Africa, I would say sex without the condom is illegal. And then they look at me and they laugh. But it's because we need to spread message if you're going to have sexual relationship, it comes with responsibility. You are responsible for your own life. You don't leave it to the next person to say, yeah, no one saying, but how to get like a contract to get moyon. But you must come with the maturity and the willingness to take responsibility. Yeah, who are engaged in that kind of relationship.
Okay, Austumi, you spoke about emotional readiness, and the third question sort of speaks to that. But can a relationship be successful without intimacy and sex?
Absolutely, a relationship can be successful without sex. Intimacy and sex are two different things. Intimacy is the way batu ba relate to one another. So ke the way re buang ka teng, re feelisanang ka teng, tsamaisana le di emotions. So you make me feel good about myself, you make me feel comfortable around you, you make me feel like I can share my dreams with you. This is becoming an intimate relationship. You make me feel like I can share my secrets with you, the things that I'm going through. So you can have an intimate relationship so transfer or change into a sexual relationship where there's actual sexual intercourse. Remember, sexy define sexy can vary from kissing, to touching, to fondling, to penetration. So a lot of young people can have an intimate relationship, moba connecting with someone else, and then they can choose this is the boundary, the line that we're not going to cross. So you're able to have that kind of, and it can be a healthy relationship.
That was a very insightful conversation. o ske wa tšhetša re tlo gotla haufi ka mora papatso.
Before the break, we asked the question, when a girl starts her period, what does it mean? The answer is A, she can fall pregnant. How are you, Sis Lebo, today?
Yes.
So guys, have you a question to ask Sis Lebo?
Yes. Yeah, my name is Nantogozo Mngoni. My question is, sex before marriage is a sin?
So you want to know if it's a sin?
Yes.
Inkinga yami with that belief yokuthi sex before marriage is a sin is the fact that a lot of people feel very dirty about themselves and about something that is very natural. Okay, so I think if it is your belief, it is fine, but I think we must also, and that is my other problem with it, a lot of churches only talk about sex. There's a lot of things that are sins, but people are fine with doing them. Okay, so I don't want to say if it's your belief, it is a wrong belief. I am basically saying the problem with it is when you start having problems with something that is so natural. If you are a bad person.
Thank you.
Omunye nombuzo?
Okay.
Nna ka lebitso ke nna Mamoketsi Magotla. Potso ya ka ke hore if ever o le ko diphuroting o have sex, it is possible hore o ka ba pregnant.
That's an important question. It is possible. Not unlikely, but it's possible gore o ka fall pregnant. But not only will you fall pregnant, ne? If o le ko diphuroting or o se ko diphuroting o sa sebedise condom, you could also get other sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. So when you are having sex, whether you are in your period or not in your period, is that you must always make sure that you use a condom. Ne?
My name is Bella Maseko. My question is, how do you control your feelings when you have a crush?
When you have a crush. Yo, I wish I knew, you know? I wish I knew. Maybe let me tell you a story about when I was young, you know, when I had my own crushes. So you sometimes when you see this particular person, you sweat, you don't know how to act, you know. Even if this person asks you a question, you don't know, you know, no kuluma when they start talking to you because you really love them. I think for me, I'm sharing this story with you because it's so normal. You know, when you become a teenager, to really love people in a way that makes you want to melt and, you know, your heart, you know, even if you were eating when they come, you don't want to show that you were eating, you know. It's very normal, you know, and you must understand that it's a normal a part of growing up, okay? So sometimes for me to cope, it was completely avoid them. Make sure that you don't see them. And it's okay if you make yourself a fool. Sometimes it's the opposite. You just want to go to Sondez, you must forever be close to them. And it breaks your heart so much if maybe when I look at Sondez, they are actually interested in your friend or in somebody else. It breaks your heart. But a crush is just like that. It's a crush, you know? It's a feeling that you have. Maybe you dream of yourself in that wedding gown with this guy. It's okay. It's a normal part of growing up. Even if you've made a fool of yourself, accept it. It's fine. We all get through it. I still get crushes even in my old age. Look, this episode was very important because I think the part of growing up, of being a teenager, being a young woman, can be very confusing because we give young women, and I think young boys, a lot of conflicting messages about what does that mean. And some of these things that happen in your body, some of the changes. For an example, when I grew up, my one breast was bigger than the other. You know, you are like, oh my goodness, you know, am I abnormal? When you are young, you also want to fit in. Okay? And I think as Katina Seningi, we confuse sex and sexuality. Kanti sexuality is the growing up of you into an adult, It includes emotions work, how you feel about yourself. It includes the body changes in you physically. Kanti sex is the act, you know. And in all of this, I think what is important is to make sure that we empower young women about these changes that are happening. But in fact, we celebrate them. When a child crawls and walks, we don't say it's a shameful thing.
Yes.
Do you understand? And developing sexual feelings and your sexuality is also natural. Because of where you start menstruating, you start getting interested in sex and stuff like that. For me, it's the same as learning to crawl and to walk. It's your progress as a human being. No pumamazin, your wisdom teeth is the same. So for me, celebrate your sexuality, understand that it is very normal, but empower yourself with information. So that for me is what is important about today's episode.
It's always nice to be now.
Thank you. It's lovely being here.
Thank you.
Okay, my dear.
Oh, today's show, ne? Yeah. Today, and the eslupayo and the understand as young women. When it comes to sex, we see emotionally attached. You understand? So I think that's what. In thing when today, and to you guys on today's episode.
Well, namhlanje mina ngibone ukuthi nokuthula singabantu and we're sexual beings. Ukuzwa imizwa nokwenza ucansi is a natural part of our growth. So kumele ukuthi sivumeleke ukuthi sikwazi ukufunda ngalento, sithokoze futhi ngalezi zinto ezenzakalayo ngemizimba yethu. Siphinde futhi sikwazi to explore our sexuality. Sibe responsible sikwenza lokho.
You know what, guys? I learned that we can express ourselves sexually, you know, our sexual feelings in another way other than uglalana. Isn't this nje?
Ngiyavumelana nawe Yezophinde. Thank you to everyone at home, to our audience, Sis Level, Rise Clubs, and my lovely co-hosts. Make sure to join us next week for yet another episode of Rise. Please join the conversation on our Rise Talk Show Facebook page and on Mixed Reach. We'll see you next week.
Woof, woof.